Happy Wednesday. It's Beverly with the Intuitive Interior. Time for your next little walk around the Bagua map. So today is day 3. We're going to the part of the Bagua that corresponds with the number 3. That is East. So pulling out your little handy dandy cheat sheet, we're now going over here to the East where the green is. That is the family and ancestors sector. This resonates with the wood element. And so if you look here at my next little thing, one of these days I'll get all the fancy slides, but that's not today. So you look now is the wood element. And it doesn't always have to be on the top, by the way. That can, whatever. But just a little bit about the wood element is it's very focused. If you can see trees that have fallen over in a storm, and if the roots are still intact, it's got one purpose, and that is to grow up. That is to go towards a goal. So you know those type A personalities? That would be the wood element. Because again, they know where they want to go. They know what they want to do, and they have a very strong purpose. The family and ancestors sector, it's a lot about where did some of that purpose of your life path come from? How deep do those roots go? We all know that some families are more supportive than others. Some families are healthier than others. So there can be a lot of mixed feelings, a lot of mixed emotions around this particular type of historical legacy. For example, in my own immediate family, my dad's heritage is pretty much all German. My mom's heritage is all from the Czechoslovakian area. And what's fascinating is that, my husband's mom is actually from Germany. When we look at legacy, we have to both acknowledge that, other than, a few little tiny logistics, it's highly possible that my dad could have easily fought against his uncles during World War II, because that's part of our family legacy. So it's worth it to take some of that stuff into account, because there's this wonderful study that's called epigenetics, and it's still relatively in its infancy stage. But what scientists are finding is that things that have happened multiple generations ago, those strong emotions get stuck in the DNA, and that memory of trauma, of pleasure even, usually trauma, unfortunately, but that memory of that stimulus gets transmuted down the road into various offspring. Not every offspring gets the same intensity level. So that's why you might have some families that just are completely repulsed by, say a texture or a food or something like that, while the others are not. So sometimes it can be moderated in there, but that's part of that family legacy. So I'm using that word legacy a lot because this also works for businesses. Where did your business come from? When you're looking at historically, did the business that we're in now, did it get its start in who knows, slavery perhaps, or some other kind of habit, of pattern of cheating employees? Is that what? And if you don't like the foundation that something was built on, well, you kind of need to A, acknowledge that, and then B, do whatever makes you feel like you can be in integrity with where you are now. Sometimes it's a matter of just making reparations. Sometimes it's just acknowledging, wow, this was a real problem. I have another friend who's been expressing a lot of stories on her business page, on her Facebook page, about some of her childhood experiences growing up during the time of war. and how even before all of that happened, how things were really miserable with her father, and how, just acknowledging that, yeah, she had a really crappy relationship with the concept of men and kindness and love. And then she made it her mission to transform that story into one that she then created a new legacy for herself. So back to the space of things. What are some of the things that you can bring into the East for support to make sure that you are able to capture all of the good from where you came from, the country of origin, the nationality, etc., those stories, that history? Because of the wood element, what makes wood grow? Well, you need to have good soil, so having some nice earth elements, but you really need water. You need to have a lot of water. So adding blue items to the East is a great way to make sure that that family tree grows nice and strong the way you want it to. One of my favorite things is, this is kind of my lucky bamboo. It's a creation I did. You guys can do it too. Just get any kind of a vase, any kind of a vase over here. I put some stones and some different colors in here, and then I got the 3 bamboo items here and tied it with a string. It used to have I think a coin on there, but somewhere along the way it came off. Oh well. Back to the wood element though, the other thing that some of the words that go along with that wood element, which also works with the family and ancestors part, people who have a lot of wood energy are described as being efficient, urgent, visionary, irritable, volatile, leader, action-driven, non-traditional, decisive, individuated, self-confident, determined, initiator, confronting, and fast pace. Remember that type A personality? Does it make any surprise to many of you that I have a fair amount of wood in my birth, according to Chinese astrology. Getting back to this is a good place to put images of that family of origin, of maybe your current family that you're creating now. If that's just your pets, fine, put those there, because that's, many people consider their pets more family than the two-legged family. The other thing that you can do is have maybe put some kind of nostalgic pieces there, photos, photo albums, gifts from certain family members, things like that. Those are good items to have around. And if it's a business, write down appreciation for all of those people who came before you to build up the business, so that way you're honoring their efforts and their sacrifices, and that just helps you really hone in on all the best parts of that legacy. And because I've been putting in an essential oil for each of these sectors, this time the single oil I tried finding one that wasn't a blend, just couldn't. But this is the one that if you are struggling a little bit right now with that family of origin, using this inner child, this is available through Young Living. You might be able to find a kind of a knockoff blend someplace else, but I haven't found one that I like as good as this one. That particular oil, the blend, I got this right over here, the blend, the negative emotions that are associated with that are feelings of desertion, of distortion, erratic energy, and it helps you to clear cellular memory. Remember that epigenetics thing? This, by saying these phrases, it can help bring you back to a space of freedom, where you're open to inner guidance, back to that childlike innocence and harmony. So these are the phrases that I'd like you to say. I release the past. I am totally connected. And okay, while you're doing this, tap on, okay, I'm going to start over. So you have the tap on the back of your head where the cranium, and the atlas meets C1. You tap on this and you say, I release the past. I am totally connected. I am free to let life unfold, and I am centered. And that may start to bring up some of those emotional bits and pieces that may or may not be so pleasant. But the point is, you can never heal something unless you feel it first. It doesn't mean you get to stay wallowing in there. But sometimes people think that they're, I'm not feeling, I'm fine, everything's good, when they're actually in a state of numbness and completely disconnected and totally fragmented from where their heart is. And then when they dip down into some of the, agitation and anxiety and frustration and irritation and even anger, they think, oh, I don't want to stay here, so I'm going to bounce back up again. It's part of the reason why, drug and alcohol usage, that's why in rough times, alcohol sales go up because people don't want to feel the pain. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the occasional need to self-medicate, the occasional need to numb. I mean, come on. How many of you are willing to have a cavity filled without the Novocaine? Not me. But once you feel it, you address it, you acknowledge it, you can express even that how upset you were with your family of origin, and then acknowledge that they were doing the best they could, just as you are. That will help you get back down to a place where you can feel joy on a consistent basis, where you can feel gratitude, where you can be grounded. And that is where you are conscious and able to grab hold of any opportunity that comes your way. So, does anybody have any questions? I'm just going to kind of ramble here for a few more minutes. If not, please type them into the comment box underneath, and I'll see you tomorrow at 1:15 with day 4. You don't want to miss day 4. That's the wealth sector. See you tomorrow.